I'm gonna tell you right now. All those songs right now, I don't know what it was, but it wasn't it. It wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't want to sip it. I did not want it. I don't know what he was thinking. But he needs to go back to the drawing board.
That shit was
garbage. What the fuck are you talking about?
He's talking about man's made a song that wasn't for him, and he feels unappreciated.
I'm talking about those DJ Khaled records. Those DJ Khaled records makes me want to throw up. It makes me want to throw up bad. Okay?
You didn't like none of them?
It was horrible. Real? No, first off, I thought it was Nav in the song. I found out it was Drake. Terrible.
You mean The Weeknd? Because they definitely
it was both.
Both did the same thing.
It was like horrible. The Weeknd. It was horrible. I wanted to wipe my butt with it.
These niggas, Drake? The nigga that got bodied by Pusha T? The nigga that hiding his kid from the world, but his world wouldn't hide from the kid? Aubrey Graham in the wheelchair? Drake?
Yes! Welcome to Late Breakfast. I'm Taurian B.
And I'm First Class Regg.
Welcome back another week, y'all. We just going to get straight into it. We're going to talk about Drake. He dropped 2 new records with Khaled that we were anticipating. There was a leak. Shout out to Cosi for sending me that leak. And then last night we got the Only For You freestyle with Hetty. Now, all of that being said, we're getting new Drake music so that we know. So now we know a new project is on the horizon. He can't tour right now, so we know a tour isn't on the way. But we do know that new music and more tunes for your head top is
Holy
coming.
Shit, LA, he signed that for you?
That's a fact.
Yo, so I have a question. Does that mean he's dropping this week when Kanye's dropping?
Hell no, we're not gonna do that again.
We don't know that, but we're not that's a name that will not be spoken tonight.
No, I'm got you. Enough said.
So let's just get into it because later on we're going to talk about him possibly going independent and what that can mean for the music industry, period.
Whew.
So let's get into it. Thoughts on the Drake songs?
I will say this. I feel like the leaks, including, which also encompass the 2 singles that he dropped with Khaled, the leaks are definitely, in my opinion, way better than Dark Lane Tapes. The collective, entire Dark Lane Tapes.
Yo, I don't think Dark Lane Tapes gets enough respect. I think it was actually a pretty good, solid project this year. I think it was an EP. And people are expecting, oh, it's Drake. Oh, he's supposed to be this guy. And everybody keeps like, oh, no, he dropped a fucking EP. Understand it's an EP. Understand it's a couple throwaway songs. And people are in their feelings about it because you know what it is. Everybody loves to hate Drake. Let's get to the point now. Song, go ahead.
I'm talking as a Drake fan. So I don't know. I felt like Dark Lane Tapes just wasn't it to me. Those records were not released for a reason, but I feel like the Grease leak, including the records with, Roddy Ricch and I don't remember the names of the records off the top right now, but all those tracks just, I feel like that's what should have been on Dark Lane Tapes.
Y'all dragging it. Like y'all, like that Grease EP was cool. It was cool, but like it that was alright though. It wasn't.
These records are old though.
Like, I'm saying, but
these are all old records.
That's cool. I mean, that's cool. I'm just saying, if James is saying that's what it came out, you're right. Like the direction that he was going in on the Grease EP. That leaked or whatever, you can't really count that one because that shit was leaked. So that's not even released officially by him. But since we're talking about the Dark Lane Tapes or whatever, it was just mid, man. Like it had a couple highlight joints here and there. But, you talk about, when you talk about, what was it, Landing or Landed, the joint with Chris Brown, a couple loose joints here and there. But we do have to allow space for artists to experiment, right? You do have to allow artists the space to come out with music because you gotta heat check. If I'm an artist if I'm going in a potentially different direction, I want to, test out and see how my fan base feels about the direction I'm going in. If I care about them, you feel me? That's why EP is important. People trash EPs as if like they're supposed to be albums. They're not. The artist is kind of in a transition mode. I feel like, in my personal opinion, that's where the EP works best. Is to show I came out with. I'm probably going to drop something in 2020. In the meantime, I want to give you something to give you an idea of the direction I'm going into. You know what I'm saying? Here's a couple of joints that's not on the album. Here, maybe I'll get a Fresh. Maybe I'll get But Grease is not that hit record at all.
Nope.
Pop Star could have definitely been a summer joint if Outside was still outside. Mm-hmm. But he had no bars. Like it was just him just rapping regular Drake.
That's what he does. He knows this is just okay. I'm just giving a few. Okay, so we it was all hit. It was all said and speculated that he was going to have a project. We've all been waiting for this project that he has. Like you said, it's to test things out. But let's be honest, that Grease joint, it sounds like an older Drake song. It sounds like Drake for when he was the Weekend era Drake. Around Take Care, maybe after Take Care, it sounds like it's an old record he's been sitting on or an old chorus he's been sitting on. Because let's be honest, Drake don't rap like that no more. That completely sounds like a Drake from 10 years ago. From the way he handles his voice, his cadence,
still hold him. You still have you still have to hold him accountable. It's his fault. That's a decision that he made. If he sounded like that 5 years ago, why would in his right mind say, let me release a joint that sounds like 5 years ago? That's going to do me justice where I'm going right now. Sorry.
But that's the whole point. It's okay. All right, we're in COVID. Let's throw away a couple a little fan favors out there. And because fans like LA, who's raising his hand over there, and like me, we fucking enjoyed it just because it has that nostalgic value to it.
Can I say something real quick? So, am I muted?
Nah, we hear you.
Oh, okay. So I was watching Khaled on Drink Champs, and he thoroughly explained the records. He went to Drake crib. He asked, yo, you got anything? Drake played him some joints. Khaled picked those two. So it's not like this was a single or this. And I think from the history of Khaled and Drake, ever since Drake gave Khaled no new friends, for the low, Drake was like, nah, I ain't giving you no more big ones. Whatever you could pick from the litter. You heard it for free. For free was all the records was like favor records. Drake is not putting in no effort and giving nobody great verses on their project anymore. He does not do that anymore. Like he's holding those for himself, especially with Khaled, bro. We saw that for free. For free was probably the first time Drake and Khaled collaborated, and it did nothing. So Drake is like, yo,
you're a liar. You're a liar. It was fire.
First of all, for free was fire? Yeah. You liked it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. It's subjective. But I think that's the last. But for free, you could tell Drake ain't really put no effort into it. Like the Khaled records, like he's not giving him like well-produced songs anymore. It's one of those
records are his teaser. He does it with every
exactly.
Record.
That is the rollout. Now for the two records, Pop Star.
I want to add before I forget.
Go ahead, bro.
I just think Drake is at a position where he knows the power of Drake. So him using himself as the entity that he's been doing is to help other people out. I just don't like feeling like Drake records are favorites and they come off like favors.
Oh, for sure.
It kind of devalues the record for me. So like listening to Grease and listening to Pop Star and seeing Khaled go through loopholes and all of the shit that he goes through on social media just to secure a Drake feature because he knows how powerful it is. Of course, Drake is going to give him some half-ass shit.
How many years did we let Jay slide with that, though, giving people free records that were trash?
But, I mean, it is what it is. I can name plenty of whole bad verses. Like, it happens. But I'm just saying, like, I mean, I absolutely can. I don't know why.
Wait, I don't know where that came from.
Wait, hold on. And then, with the Grease record, right? Mm-hmm. As a person who has been to Grease, The record slaps different, bro.
That shit.
I'm not gonna argue. That was such a.
Just hear me out.
That was a nice flex, La.
Just hear me out.
I'm not gonna argue with that.
There are certain records that.
That's a flex.
It's just a vibe. Like it's not to do anything else but to vibe. You play Greek.
Where's your drink with your pinky up?
Come on!
We applaud you for getting some stamps in your passport before the Roni. I appreciate it.
Oh no, I'm probably no. There are certain records. There are certain records where you have to experience certain things to understand what the man is talking about.
But that wasn't it.
Yes, it was. Yo, listen.
He's right.
It brought me back to the mellow vibe of Santorini. That is a beautiful experience. Ross' album hits different out there.
That song in Europe. Fuck just being in Santorini.
Exactly.
Being in Europe, hearing that Ross album different.
I've been in Paris. Are you out to Paris? I flown a woman to Paris. I resonated with that. That was that.
You can't ride with Bob Marley because you never been to Jamaica. Like that's
I can't say that. But
of course,
if you're from the culture, it hits different. You
from
feel it different. Your waistline moves different when you're from the cloth. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, guys.
But one last thing. These records that Drake are giving out, I do think they're temperature checks because it's a mixture of old and new. It's a mixture of like Vitals. Vital is super old. You can tell it's old. But there's a record called Lie to Me. Before I mute myself, at the end of Lie to Me, Puff says that Drake is now top 5 dead or alive. Just want y'all to know that.
All right, that's cute. So, and I agree, and I agree that he is approaching that, right? But now, what I want to talk about, since we're going Europe wide, we have to talk about the Only You freestyle that he's featured on with the artist Hetty. Because it stirred up a lot of people feeling like, Drake, obviously Drake has a new language now. Now we got A-Rap Drake. And
that man is Jewish, bro.
Yo, that man's claiming Gaza straight up right now is right, wow.
Let me get through it. So, he's shown us another flow. He's added another flow to his bag and showed us that he can appeal to another audience and adapt into like what they're doing, right? Remember like when Jay-Z got on the Punjab MC song and he redid that, right? So it started a little bit of a uproar last night because a lot of people felt like, oh, now Drake's going to try to get into this lane, and a lot of UK fans were like, well, that's just not for you, like speaking to Americans because Americans have American ears, and they're just like, oh, now Drake's going to be rapping like this, We got Bob Marley Drake, we got Mans Drake, we got Canada Drake, we got New York Drake, we got Calabasas Drake. But a lot of people were upset about it, and James, in our group chat made some really good, valid points. And I just wanted to hear what James had to say first on this, because this, he's passionate about it.
Yeah, what I had said, the gist of it was, all right, so ever since the beginning of hip hop, we've always kind of look down on other styles. Like back then it was East Coast kind of looking down on the South or the West Coast. And now I feel like because hip hop is now international and the UK right now is like their hip hop scene is crazy right now. And I feel like, yeah, it's absolutely right. It's not for Americans. I'm sorry. And for Americans to hate on UK hip hop is crazy to me because it's East Coast hip hop fans hating on the South all over again, but now it's just on an international basis. And I feel like, all right, you guys sound salty because these UK rappers evidently have a better grasp on the English language than y'all. So
if I may, sorry, Julius, guy, you haven't spoken yet.
No, I'm just saying, I think Drake is doing a wonderful job being the Monstars of rap, where he's sucking up everybody's, language. He's going to, this is a sign of him promoting world peace, because if he can get everybody's culture and everybody's language and mesh it together with his powers combined.
Nigga said,
go ahead, Cosi.
And also, let me reel back my energy real quick and just add that Drake's been on this UK tip for the longest.
For
like
5 years. 5 years. 5 years. So look,
he has a Skepta tattoo.
So listen. As somebody,
let's not talk about Drake tattoos.
As somebody who grew up in London, I'm talking like South London. I love this, man. I love this. I love seeing this energy. And Americans have always had this veiled ignorance when it comes to adopting and respecting hip hop from other places. Like, it's elitism. It's elitism. That's all it really is. UK rap, grime, dubstep, garage, however you want to go. You want to talk about late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s. They've been killing it, man. And some of the best music is coming out of UK right now. You look at Stormzy, you look at Skepta, you look at Hedy, you look at Young Bane, you look at and even go further back, grime MCs, Wiley, and people that have really taken Jamaican culture, Caribbean culture, African culture, put it on a pedestal, didn't really sell out, stayed true to the roots, and created a network for other younger artists to come up and grow. Like, you look at grime radio and what it did for the community, for the culture. When you talk about bringing people together, I mean, like, that London is not, but it's not that big. It's not that big. So the fact that you can have such a huge melting pot of music, so many people coming together under one roof and having such diversity in one city, one place, and then you have that branch out to Birmingham, you have it branch out to Manchester, you have it branch out into Ireland and all these other places. You cannot discredit that. You can't stifle that just because your accent is throwing you off. Their accents, our accent, New York accents throw off their shit too. But you gotta also pay respect, because this New York drill scene, these are UK producers producing this shit. M1 on the beat, A1. These are kids, West London, North London, Tertram, South London, Brixton. Like, these are, like, how are you gonna love Pop Smoke so much, but then disrespect the culture that gives him the ability to make the music that he's making? Without those UK producers, you don't get Dior. You don't get Welcome to the Party. You don't get these huge records that you love so much. So how do you love the artist, but then not the person who crafts the music that they make the art?
Also, can I add that it goes beyond just the genre of hip hop? Because, I mean, not to bring it back to Drake, but I mean, he's the example that we're using right now. But in the past, he's sampled other UK genres like garage, like shit like that. Like One Dance was sampled off of a record called. Oh man, what was it called? But it's by a house producer called Paleface.
Yeah,
and that record was a mobile record. And in addition to that, he sampled Boosie, who's another house producer from the UK. Like a house vocalist, and who worked with Black Coffee, who is a producer for Get It Together, a huge record.
Paleface himself does also work with actual Jamaican artists, and bars that he's saying in that exact thing, like when he's talking about I be with Pop Skull and he's repping Gaza, not that Gaza, but Gaza, like he's referencing shit that actually goes down in Jamaica, the Gully versus Gaza, which is, the long-standing Movado versus Empire shit that it's been what, like 15 years that shit's ongoing, to the point it's political. It has its political ties, and that's like, you don't wear certain colors on certain days in Jamaica if you're not part of that.
And one of the biggest records right now is Don't Rush by Bugsy and Young T. And most people probably think that's a Jamaican dancehall record, but it's a UK record.
Yep.
I think because Drake is like this cultural chameleon, and he's been able to flow in and out of genres, but like more blatantly than other artists. When other artists do it, and it's a little bit more camouflage, it's a little bit underlying in a beat or a melody that we may have heard, but we're not exactly sure where we recognize it from, because Drake is just so unafraid to be like, okay, here's my Jamaican accent now. Okay, what else for shit is? Okay, here's this. Like, he does it without caring, because as himself, I think he even made a joke about it. It's like, what if I'm really an actor who's playing a rapper? I'm playing the role of a rapper. I think he's been able, I think it's kind of like almost a challenge for him to see how many genres he can take over or top chart in to, at the end of the day, you look at his resume, his catalog, and be like, wow, he's been everywhere. I think that's a goal of his.
I think another element of it too is that Drake, like I said in the beginning of this, he knows the power of his voice. And I feel like he's shedding light on all these different genres and all these different styles of music because he knows what it does. Like he's done it with artists. He's done it with McConan, Migos. Some might argue Kendrick Lamar, like
Fetty Wap.
Like Future, Fetty Wap. So like he's done it with artists. I mean, why not with genres? So I get it. Like in a certain aspect of it, it says a lot when you know the power of your voice and you know the fact that people champion you like the way that they do. And I feel like sometimes he just takes a shot at, at different styles and sees what happens because he knows the bigger picture is to like.
I have a question. I have a question because we're all, even though we're not all necessarily naturally New Yorkers, we've all had a base in New York. Do you think a lot of our views of Drake tend to be tainted because we come from such a globally economically stimulating city?
Yes.
That sometimes seeing an artist from another city that is globally, culturally a melting pot, because Toronto is a melting pot.
Yep.
A lot of people, if you haven't been there, Toronto is hands down melting pot. Canada is literally like a mix of America meets the UK for a lot of people.
And the West Indies.
Exactly.
Which is why I wanted to say, like, I could understand if Drake is from New York and he's tapping into all these other things.
Yes.
He's in a culture where his man's is Jamaican, but his man's is from London. And then, you got the Canada scene, but then your parents is from Texas. Like, he's literally like...
And then they're French. They speak French up there, too, on top of that.
And he's Jewish. So
and they have horrible bacon. It's not even real bacon, okay?
This man has what we would call a dual passport and dual citizenship all over. But in another level, like, he has dual culture, too. So and what he does is he embraces everybody's culture, which benefits him because say he's done with rap and he wants to just fuck with the UK, he can do that. Say he wants to go to Barbados and chill on my mother's block. I'm gonna plug that in, by the way. And matter of fact, wait, hold on.
Oh shit! God. Oh shit! Here we go.
And
I thought it was another signature. I thought it was another. Hey.
That was already there. You just already had that there.
We also, so we got the Rihanna blessing and the Drake blessing.
Like even props and stuff.
He is just so culturally tapped in, and he's using that for his blessings. I think it was the Rap Radar podcast where he talked about his ability to shed light on other people by making it bigger. And then once he gets that light, he hands it off to them. He doesn't just say, oh, I'm the best this. He gives credit to, Wiz Kid and whoever inspires him. He is not ashamed to say, yo, I heard this kid from London. I love that shit. I wanted to jump on it. Go check him out. Like Cosi said, homie smoked him on the record. I don't think Drake cares about that. The fact that, he stood next to him, it gives this kid the opportunity. Matter of fact, I think he would more want the kid to smoke him. So we can now...
homie smoked him. Homie smoked him on the record.
So we can now check and see what his catalog is like. You know what I'm saying? That's why when people say, yo, Drake's a culture vulture, but you actually talk to the people within that culture, they don't mind because it's not a selfish thing.
I mean, like, listen, though, like, people came at Drake for the whole London thing, and then at the end of the day, the only reason we got Top Boy season 2 is because of Drake. The only reason. And you don't get that without blessings. You don't get Ashley. You don't get Kano. You don't get these actors without the blessing. You don't get On Fire in the Booth with Charlie Sloth without the blessing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm here for it. Roadman Drake. That's my best Thanos color. That's it. Like, that's the best version of Drake for me.
And isn't that hip hop though? Like hip hop.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, don't come in there as in that hip hop, Julius, because you were not liking it and you were talking shit and you were on some, give me the heady shit without heady on it. And give me only the Drake.
Facts.
I was begging for the Drake only version. I don't understand that man.
Also,
isn't this hip hop though? Like hip hop is definitely like a mix of everything. It's sampling. You're sampling R&B. You're sampling pop music. You're sampling jazz. Like I
was going to bring up that topic as well. I feel like a huge issue I've always had with hip hop, as far as a lot of fans, is that I feel like there's no space for some of these artists to really wear their influences and and things and different sounds on their sleeve, because I feel like there's this constant energy around the corner of, people accusing them of biting or being unoriginal or shit like that. But
that's that New York shit though, bro.
Yeah. And
if you look at it, every other state, bro, it's like LA don't about that shit, Atlanta definitely don't care. I think it's just New York. It's the way we are. We're mad territorial. We're over competitive.
Yeah.
What?
And you notice how in every other genre there's artists do cover versions of like older records, and I feel like we don't get to see that in rap music. I would love to see.
We hide it under the samples.
Yeah. I would love to see like a cover version of an older hip hop record, like word for word, but maybe over a different beat, or I don't know, updated production, something like that. I feel like there's nothing wrong with that.
Here's the thing, that doesn't work for MC though.
Yeah,
like the rules of MCing, that don't work.
Because Drake gets killed for that too.
Because I think somebody could
let Chloé speak. Let Chloé speak. Chloé was making a point. Please.
I think it also goes back because hip hop started as ours, as Black people. We created it and we cultivated it. And the last time we let motherfuckers do covers and appropriate our shit, they took it and turned it into country music, but it was just rhythm and blues. It was ours. So I think we were very territorial when it came to hip hop in terms of who could remix, rewrite, and revamp our shit, because we've seen how that played out in the past. And it didn't last that well. It didn't last that long. I mean, it did, but obviously country took over and became the number one genre in the world because white people. So again, I'm with you now because we have changed and have evolved since then. But I think we haven't written the rules in terms of who can do it. I think it's a very gray area.
That's a great point as well. I should have specified where I was coming from. I was thinking more of like, like you have Rose Royce's original version of I'm Going Down, and then you have Mary J. Blige's version. The word sound to sound. Like, so I was thinking more along those lines. But yeah, like that's an absolute good point though.
I would like to see somebody probably even do You're All I Need with Method Man and Mary J. Blige over.
Yeah. I would love to.
I would love to see that.
Oh, he's on the screen.
So
Sweetie and Quavo. Gotcha.
Right. I just want to chime in. So artists do pay homage in rap, and they do. It's called borrowing lines, but they call it biting. Like Jay pays homage to a bunch of rappers all the time. Also, we do have rappers that do reach out to artists from different regions. I just think like Chloe said, in New York, there's the authenticity of it, because you just don't, you want to be like a supreme MC. You want to think of your own raps and things like that, right? So it's just like the clash of finding that fine line. But I think that Drake has kind of like mastered it. I think that's why he has become the biggest rapper, the biggest artist in the world, excuse me. So I just think that's the point. But with me talking about him being the biggest artist in the world, what's coming up now is the end of his contract. And a lot of people, there's a lot of murmurs going around in the industry that he's possibly just going to be independent and not have to deal with any label. Because if you know one thing about Drake, he really don't need much from a major label. He brings everything tailor-made. Him and 40 get in the studio and they do what they got to do and they cook it up. I'm pretty sure that when Drake has his team meetings, he has team meetings like he is a brand, like he is the Gap, like he is, Levi's. Like they talk about him like a brand already amongst themselves, and then they just present it to the label like, listen, this is what we're doing, we're putting it out. So it's the possibility that Drake is either going to get one of the richest deals in the music industry, and that it'll kind of be similar to like what Jay did when he retired to basically trick the Def Jam into giving him all of his masters back. In my opinion, I think what's going to happen is Universal is going to give him one of the most lucrative deals in music history and give him all of his masters to keep him in-house. But I think that he should go indie. But I'm pretty sure, them offering him his masters is probably going to be a big deal. So I just wanted to talk about that because there's a lot that he can do, but do you guys think it'll be a good or a bad thing if the biggest artist in the world becomes independent of no label?
It's about damn time.
It would change music forever.
I have a question. Do you really think after we've seen lower tier artists such as Tory Lanez or even Russ right now, Russ who's made an amazing example of let's go fully independent. The same thing with Tory Lanez, who we don't need to bring up in conversations until we understand things go on. However, his independent grind is different. Everything they do is in-house. What if Drake has that? If Drake has the means to actually move at that point, why would he ever not go independent?
But I think doesn't he already have his own OVO deal with? Is it Columbia? Is it OVO like? Outside?
We don't know because he hasn't gone full independent. I don't think that's all.
Because when Party and them release and Division, it's under I'm gonna tell you right now. Hold on, my fault. Go ahead, guys.
Just to inform you on that, I'm not sure what the deal is at, but that's another deal at another label.
Yeah,
right.
I think each artist he has a different deal at a different place in partnership with him.
He releases at least most recently, he releases, it says OVO and then Under Republic.
Right, right. So
which owns Universal.
If I can stay indie but have
Cosi.
distribution through Republic, that man is going to. Music is. Listen, I think it was Steve Stout.
Yeah, Complex,
that man said straight up, if that shit happens, the music industry is going to crumble.
I don't particularly. I mean, I read that same article. I think that Steve was on to something particular with Drake, but what I think is going to happen will benefit Drake in a vacuum. I don't know if it'll affect everybody across the board. Just hear me out for a minute. So we talk about, in that same article that me and LaShawn are referencing, was it Russ said that it costs tops $60,000 to produce like a hit record, right? You produce the record for $60K, you get the royalties off of it, you keep the masters off of it, you control your own destiny, right? What I believe is going to happen as a result of what Drake could do is we're going to see a lot of Calipari deals, where basically you're going to see a lot of artists signing one-offs. They're going to come onto the label. They're going to come onto the label, sign for one album. They're going to put everything into that one album, try to get the championship. And if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. What the artist does after that, it is smart. What the artist does after, but not without his faults. What the artist does is they take the money that they recoup from the project, pay back the label. They take that money, they go independent. Then they start a cycle. They start a cycle of investing in themselves. So you talking 20, 30,000 to get the beat. You talking what? Digital streaming platform or distribution deal. I forget which programs they have now, but what, $50 for a record, you recoup, you keep all of the money. But on the flip side, not everybody is gonna walk away with the capital, right? To be able to do that. They're not gonna have the profit to be able to do that. So labels will still be able to get these deals with people because of the fact that to do that Drake shit, to do that Rush shit, to do that Chance shit, at the end of the day, you have to do your homework. Steve Stout also said that I believe it was 85 or 90% of artists right now don't even know how they get paid. Keep that in mind. So artists are not doing the homework to understand the business. They're reaping the rewards from the business, deservedly so. But if a label comes to you and if you ain't never had no money, and basically they say, listen, we'll pay for everything up front. All you got to do is tour to make a little cash on the side, pay us back our initial investment, and you good. There's going to be a lot more artists that are going to say bet than saying, how can I make this independent from my own? Because independent does mean that it's all on you. In the article I read about Brent Faiyaz, he discusses that where he talks about how he had to save up so much money, and the way that he tours is really based on the markets where he's most popular in. But if he had partnered with a label, if he had a partner with a label, the label would have said, "Oh, we'll send you here. We'll send you to Ontario." He could be like, "I ain't got no fan base in Ontario like that, but I have the potential to walk away with fans after I finish my show in Ontario." You feel me? So it's like there's pros to it, but looking at the top person in the best position with the most leverage do something new, that doesn't mean shit for the little guy, because the little guy doesn't have access to the same things as Drake does. So really it's going to set this false precedence that he can do it too. And yes, you can. Black president, little guy can be a black president. Absolutely. But there are going to be a lot of people who are going to try to do that without doing the homework, without studying poli-sci, without going through the years of education to follow that same path. And I think that it's going to clip a lot of people at the knees, in my honest opinion.
To that point, I think we're seeing someone like Russ, who is very popular among the younger generation, clearly, obviously winning in every regard, but he's doing that due diligence. I think the younger kids, I think they have the younger artists have a way better grasp on their audience. They don't need to go through to Ontario and shit like that because they have the analytics in front of them. I think the problem that the artists are having now is with the labels have access to those streams to the macro of that, the micro of that. So I know how many streams you get in New Mexico. I know how many streams you get in Arizona. I know how many streams you get. That's where the key information is. Once you unlock that, I don't fucking need no label. I can go and crowdfund my own audience based upon the analytics that I have. The same way with Instagram. If I know that 50% of my likes and shit is coming from Inglewood, California, then you goddamn straight, then I'm going to do a show in Inglewood, California, and no people are going to show up. A lot of the label heads are doing that now. Like, I think even with artists talking about like, yo, like my label's doing me wrong and this and that, you don't need a label. All you need is a fucking social media specialist. And he can tell you where your fucking audience is.
Where is your capital coming from?
Exactly.
The capital comes from the fan base.
No, it does not. For you to go on tour, for you to pay your publicist, for you to pay your lawyer, for you to have your ducks in a row, you need upfront money. That's why the labels won't die if Drake does this, because there are going to be artists who do not have the capital to launch. You can have a social media specialist, you can have a publicist, you can have whoever, but at the end of the day, when it comes to investing in your project, you can either save for years to be able to do so, like we hear some rappers do, or you get signed by the label who fronts you the bread for you to be able to go and do those things. Labels are still necessary. They're necessary evil, but they are necessary, because at the end of the day, where is this money coming from for you to look the part? Let's not forget that. Look the part, because we just talked about there's a visual aesthetic to hip hop. People buy into not just what you sound like, but what you look like. If you are an elite rapper without the ambiance, without the
nobody's buying your music.
Nobody's buying your shit. Nobody's buying your shit.
True.
Wait.
The argument.
If that's not true,
He's right. He's right.
Hold on, Dan. If that's not true, why is the first thing that artists are buying once they become legitimate? Visual aesthetic. They're immediately investing in how they look because they care, because how they appear attracts an audience, bro. You have to invest in that. We are slaves to that, bro. And
I don't think that's outside of the music. That's a deeply
because look.
It's not. It's
go to what Rob used as his example, and I used as an example before too.
You said
Russ. No, Rob used as an example before, and I used as Russ. Now Russ ain't broke. Russ didn't grow up broke, and he doesn't. And he openly states that. Russ grinded though, and does all his shit himself. Like, he's literally a one-man shop. He does all his own engineering, all his directing, mixing, producing, all that. Now, he doesn't visually fit the bill, but guess what? Guess what? Money made sure he ended up in the right hands. And not to say he doesn't deserve it. He works. That man works. There is the grinding aspect to it. But let's be honest. A white Russian boy with fucking long hair isn't just popping up on your fucking YouTube and you're sitting there watching him without hearing his name beforehand.
But that's the same thing as Dave East. Dave East has a look and he can't sell records for shit.
Well, Dave East can't make a chorus.
That's because he cannot make a song.
Yes,
that is too talent. That speaks to his talent.
Right.
If Dave East can make a song, the women are waiting. I'm telling you.
Dave East acts better than he raps.
His brand aesthetic won. The reason why niggas like Dave won because, and even niggas went like Wiz. When Wiz first was coming out, he was Taylor Gang, Converse, low budget gang, right? You have to have a brand aesthetic that is relatable, that is identifiable, that people will know you for, that they're going to come back to. If you look like everybody else down at Webster Hall, I'm not going to remember you, my nigga. I can remember seeing you as a face. Maybe I heard a good song or a good verse, but the brand and the buy-in is what the consumer can relate to. We liked Nicki because she wasn't just another big butt booty bitch from Queens. She had crazy hair. She had wigs like us. We could relate to it.
She was in the streets and we saw it.
Bitches gotta want to be fuck you for niggas or want to be next to you. And for girls, a girl gotta want to be with you or be next to you. Same shit, like in terms of the rap game. It's all about the brand aesthetic. May not be the flyest nigga in the room, but you're the most unique. You're the most identifiable. Drake is an anomaly because Drake looks regular as fuck. But what he played into was the emotion behind his songs. He was so relatable. He was like your homie next door that like y'all had the same taste in music and y'all were going through the same shit at the same time. There's got to be some sort of brand cohesion where I'm going to go back to you for this reason.
But a label is not needed for that.
Okay, so I just...
we know what the label's for. Label's the money.
I wanted to chime in with this, right? So we also have the examples of like Chance the Rapper. He was a part of the Save Money crew. It was him and Vic Mensa. The thing that got Chance over the top was that he looked like a normal guy, right? And that's really and his stage presence and his performance. But if we never heard any of their music and if somebody showed us the visual test, we would think that Vic Mensa would be the one who would get the opportunity. But it just didn't translate, right?
And more fuckable.
Which remember, Vic also changed his aesthetic. The aesthetic that he has now is not the aesthetic that he had when him and remember he was just
I was talking about his aesthetic when he first came.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So I agree with Cosi. I don't think that it's going to do a lot for artists, established artists, and I think for legacy artists, this is going to do a lot, right? But I think for newer artists, no, because this is why we keep hearing the stories about artists getting robbed, because when they first start, they're broke and they don't have money and they don't have money for studio. Some artists don't even have, I know a bunch of rappers from my neighborhood and they be on the street all day selling weed, but they still don't have money for studio time. They don't have money to go to another city. They don't have, they need income, right? They try to put food on the table at night. So I think it won't break the industry, but I think what it'll do is wake up a lot of artists to become more literate in reading contracts and understanding things that they do when they sign a contract, and if they even need to sign a contract. But what I do think is going to happen is that I think Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, and Amazon streaming services are going to start cutting deals, like what Chance the Rapper did with Apple Music. I think that's going to happen, and that's going to be a big thing. And I think that's what the record labels are terrified of, and that's why some of them are trying to cut deals with them now, streaming services. But I think streaming services is just going to like cut people straight out and just say, hey, I'll give you a 2-album deal to stream it to be exclusively on my streaming service. Spotify is probably going to be like the big, Spotify and Apple Music are probably going to be the big winners with that. And I think that's something like what Drake has in the works. And then also
Drake has done that already though.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Then,
I don't think that's what's going to happen. Go ahead. Sorry.
And also what I think is Drake has endorsement deals with, like he has endorsement deals like LeBron does. So LeBron also has it where like he can get McDonald's to fund an album for him. A lot of artists, up and coming artists, don't have that opportunity. Shit, a lot of established artists don't have that opportunity. Like Drake is Taylor Swift in the male form. So anybody will give him money, Nike, McDonald's, whatever other brand or whatever like that will give him money. It's not like how it was back in the day when people were getting funded by, hood pharmacists. And,
but here's the thing. I think we've seen the end of that. I think we've already seen the problem when these DSPs do the exclusivity deals. So I think I think there is a way that you're saying exactly where it has to be these DSPs that come in and offer a certain amount. But I think the actual, the model they showed before showed that it hurt the DSPs more than anything, because it got to the point that we were all like, yo, who has Tidal? Who has Apple Music? Who has Spotify? I need your passports. Let's share. Oh, you're going to get this family plan. I get this family plan. Because it happened within our own group chat at one point. So I think when they realized that, they stopped doing that, because you realize that shit didn't work for them. It took a lot of money from a lot of different places. It's like, yo, people were literally leaving DSPs to go to another one to start a new trial membership, making a whole ass fake fucking email address, because that's really how it was going. Because it's, yo, am I really gonna commit to this DSP for exclusivity over one album?
They would go and they would
Thank you, Beyonce.
They would go through all that trouble just for the album to be available everywhere, just like maybe a couple weeks later.
Beyonce kind of caused it. It was her, like, she's the one who started it.
To keep it a buck, I was going to Taurian. I had my Apple Music shit. I was asking Taurian for his Tidal and his Spotify. Fuck that. I wasn't paying all three. I'm still not. I'm still rocking on Taurian shit.
But the big thing is getting those emails. So I get what you're saying, where like people find like loopholes and people are sharing their streaming services, but also you don't think that the streaming services also figured out like, all right, cool, now we have your email. Like you have to go and unsubscribe, and they make that really hard for some people to do. So you might not, after your free trial, you might not be there anymore. But then like they don't care, because at the end, year end, they'll just say, we had this person subscribe for this amount of time, and that's all they really care about.
Still counts.
That's all the investors want. All the investors want is to see those names, to see those subscriptions. That's all they want at the end of a certain quarter. If they can provide that, they don't care. As long as investors see, okay, these many people subscribe, okay, we're great. They don't really think about, okay, how many unsubscribe.
So I think that's a great point, Julius. I think another side effect of this is, I do believe that artists should be pushing for more independent opportunities for obvious reason, as we so eloquently stated. But I think one thing that'll happen as a great byproduct is that it'll keep the music honest. And I think that it'll create more intention with how music is A&R'd. You read stories like, reading Gucci Mane's book, watching Wayne's career, and even watching what Frank Ocean did, with the finesse he did with Def Jam. Artists have a history of just throwing shit out to clear the fine print. I mean, what does that do for the fans? That really doesn't give us great music. If the artists can just see it from a business aesthetic, they just do what they need to do to fulfill their contractual obligation, and then they move on. It's really a Band-Aid, but it's not anything impressive. But I think that if an artist is the head of their own respective ship, I think that you'll get more Friday Night Lights and you'll get less Mr. Nice Watch. In my personal opinion, I think that you'll get more people. I think you'll get more people that are genuinely invested. My fault to all the J. Cole fans in the building right now.
No.
I just thought
you never lied. No one likes Mr. Nice Watch.
So I'm just saying, like, right. The pressure, the overhead. You lose the overhead. You lose the ability for somebody to come in and say, that's not going to be a lead single. This is going to be a single, knowing damn well that was the one right there. That was the hit right there, but the label said we want to appeal to this demographic.
Yeah, Cosi, you just touched on exactly what I wanted to say. Because, I feel like there's going to be way less, I guess for lack of a better term, trendy sounding records. Because right now, like if you have one record that hits and it sounds a particular way or it has a certain feature, you're going to get, I don't know, like I'm just throwing out a number, like 10 other records that sound exactly that same way by a couple different artists. And I feel like if the system changes, you might get way less of that, and you'll get more, I guess, more sounds that's
more variety.
More variety.
More variety.
I think labels might start doing like joint ventures.
I only don't see that switching up, James, because trends is just something that we've grown accustomed to. So, like, I think even without trying. Like these artists subconsciously do the thing that's like in right now. I think that's just something that not even just in rap, just period. Like with the way people dress, with like the style of everything, that's just like the formative way of like how shit carries on.
Yeah, I mean that's one way to look at it, but you can also consider and the angle of possibly behind the scenes, somebody is telling artist X like, "Yo, this TikTok record is popping right now. You got to make something like this," and artist X is like, "Yeah, okay," but if they had their own situation going on, they might be able to have the room to say, "Nah, that's corny. I'm not going to do that." And how many times has a certain artist kind of done something that's on trend, but it just came off sounding and looking so convoluted and disingenuous?
It's like bad Yo Gotti release.
Sorry, Lupe.
With that being said, guys, I want to wrap things up. I want to thank all of our guests that came on tonight. My name is Taurian B.
My name is First Class Regg.
And we will catch you guys next time. Thank you for watching.